All right, what's going on, y'all? Part three. We're doing Orbituary. All right, so we're back in the market. To the left there, you see a contested entry, and then in front of me, you see another one. I like using this one here, right in the middle, in the back of the market. And we're just going to run straight ahead. This is all armistice. And there's an entrance over there and an entrance here. They take you to the same general location, just different sides. They do interconnect after you get through the first fuse door on either side. All right, so just like Checkmate, you run in here, you've got an airlock. I always scan around for any players just waiting to try to jump you. Normally there aren't any, but you never know. Always check the airlock before you go in, because once you cross that threshold, you are in a non-armistice or a hostile zone. Alright, so what do you need for this zone? You need a red card from the supervisor station, and you're going to need 2 blue key cards, which you can get from inside the zone itself. What I'm doing here is I didn't bring any fuses. I wanted to do this run, not taking anything with me. So we'll go ahead and grab this fuse, which is off to the right if you take this entrance. Go back to that main fuse door, throw it in. Alright, up ahead here, normally you're going to run into some NPCs, but this server performance is... I'm not on the same server I was during Part 1 and Part 2, but this server was the same situation without NPCs. A lot of the servers are just degrading the longer they maintain these patches. Hopefully Sig can nail this down. But anyways, you enter this big room, and there's that supervisor door right to the right. Alright, once you're through the door... just go straight ahead, cut through this S-turn here. I like to go to the left. If you go straight ahead and crawl, you'll get into a loot area. But again, I'm trying to make these runs pretty quick. This isn't about loot, it's about getting the cards. First place I like to go when I get back to medical here is I like to get a blue key card. Like I said earlier, you need 2 of them to get through this zone. And this is your opportunity to get 1 of them right now. I didn't bring any fuses, so I know that I need to get a second fuse to open the door to go down towards the location of board 4. So I'm going to hook a right up here, go through this door, and then hook another right. And there's a fuse at the end of the wall on the left. That one's usually always there. If the other ones are all taken, you can usually find that one. But we'll go through this door, go straight across, and that's our fuse door, which is why I put my gun away and I carry the fuses when I know I'm only going a short distance and not likely to run into anybody. It makes it so much faster. And if you try to put a fuse in your hand when you have a gun, sometimes the game will mess that up depending on server performance. Sometimes it'll put your gun in your backpack if your gun is small enough to fit in a backpack. Anyways. Went through the EVA zone, heading towards board 4. We're down here in the medical ward. If you get a chance, explore this area. There's a lot of loot down here, and some of the visuals are pretty neat. I mean, there's like kidneys laying on the table and just all kinds of stuff. This room here usually has a golden box. I like to search those because they usually have nice optics. Alright, once we get board 4 here, we'll go ahead and head on out. Something I've kind of been meaning to mention during this whole series is when you go through a fuse door, let's say you're waiting on some friends or some org mates or whatever, and they're behind you, and you go ahead and get through that door, you can always turn around and reopen that door from the back of the door. You don't have to have another fuse or any of that. You can also close those doors manually. They'll close on their own after, I don't know, 10 or 15 seconds, but you can actually turn around, close them manually if you're trying to prevent, you know, people from backtracking you too quickly. All right, so at this point, we're heading back to the main area. I saw the fuses on the way in, so I know there hasn't been much player activity. I do like to scan that place at the top of the stairs when I come through here. Put the gun away, carry another fuse. We're not carrying it far. Not too worried about players here. Not on this low pop server anyways. All right. If you're on a good working server, as soon as you open that door, there's going to be an elevator to your right there, which is a spawn closet. Generally 4 NPCs will just be hanging out in there, and then another one on the left here. Come in here. If you were to go to the left there, there's a call it like a storage closet where you put a fuse in, you have to tractor it through the fence, and it will it'll open up, and there's some gear in there you can loot. But off to the right is our first blue door. So we put our key card in. Off we go. Now, if NPCs are present, this next area right here, this entire area is slam full of NPCs. But in my case, I didn't have to worry about that. So I'm going to take this elevator, go straight up to the second blue key card. Go ahead, print that thing out. Grab that, and we'll just jump off the rail. It'll hurt a little bit, but not much. Throw that blue key card in. I had a little trouble here. I went to put it in my hand. I didn't wait long enough, and I tried to insert it. So then the game got all confused. It eventually pulled it to my hand, but I don't know. I tried to make a move action, so it was all screwed up. So I had to put it back in my bag. Then put it in your hand again. And we're good to go. All right, this area is pretty straightforward. There's an elevator in the back. It takes you to Hangar 30. That's the end of the Orbituary zone where you get card 7. Haven't had any players at this point, so I don't anticipate any will be up here. Whether or not you have NPCs in the entire zone, they are guaranteed to be in this hangar. They always spawn, no matter what else is happening. So go ahead and kill them. Run through. I promise y'all, on the next video, I'll learn how to double speed a video. That way you guys aren't sitting here watching me fight, and we can just high speed through this. That NPC had some lead feet. Moving that whole gun. Yeah, things just get kind of weird the longer patches cook in this game for some reason. Hopefully they get that sorted out. I always like to check these little alcoves for players going back here. There's board 7. Go ahead and print it out. I was pretty certain the elevator wasn't going to work, so I wasn't even bothered with it. I will run through the central area and kind of show you guys what components you might be able to expect there. In this particular run, I didn't see any NN13s or NN14s, but they are a very, highly likely chance to spawn in here. along with NDB 30s. And then occasionally you'll get a 28, and you might get lucky and get a 26. But a lot of it's those big scattergun style. I'm not sure what the name of them is. I'll highlight one in a second. But they're kind of awful. I mean, comment below if you know a good ship use for them, but they're pretty bad. And that's just my opinion. All right, there we had a 28. That's a 30. Power supplies, you got a Bullide and a Dynaflux. Or was that an Ultraflux? I didn't even pay attention. Get this thing out of the way. I mean, those guns are cool looking, but as from what I've heard, they're pretty awful. Again, you guys know a good use for them, you know a good ship for them. Hey, put it in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. There's another gun spawn up there. Off to the right here is another gun crate right there. And then power plants are kind of spotted through the central area here. I'll just do a quick run around. So there's one in that crate. There's a couple here. Believe there's one more off to the left. You just got to kind of scan that whole central area. But I've got the boards. I don't want to risk it, so I'm going to get out of here. But that's pretty much the video. That's Orbituary. That's part 3. For part 4, we're going to go ahead and move into the Executive Hangar itself and show you guys what to do with all these boards and what you might be able to find. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, please leave it a like. Subscribe if you're not already, if you like my content. I greatly appreciate it. It helps a small startup channel like mine. Hope you guys have a good one.